It's actually Small God featuring Kweku Flake. Wonderful stuff there. So I love this one so much. The Rihanna song is really good, and then I love the OG of all of them, Talal Fatal's Charlie. There's no turning back.
You know. Hold on. There's a time somebody called me. I think last week somebody called in on SportyFM, and the person was like, "Talal Fatal, you know they be. See, me and your mom, we took it personal." Then later he called back and I was like, "Wait, how old is he?" He said he's what, 24. I'm like, okay.
That explains it.
Okay, I don't blame you because we appreciate it because we lived it in the moment.
Yes,
it was our first
World Cup.
I remember I was like 11 or 12. Yeah. Our first World Cup, and it was a big deal.
It was.
If we had a game around 1 or 2, they close school early.
Oh yeah. We ought to go watch.
They put a giant screen, or if a round go out, or else you miss the game. So he didn't appreciate.
He doesn't quite. You
don't get it. You got.
Talal Fatal. I mean, musically, just speaking from a musical perspective.
The grammar of World Cup songs.
I tell you,
Charlie.
Really,
that should be it. That should be it. Anyway.
Time check is 8:30. This is still the Sporty Breakfast. Michael Azarbedo is still on the line. Michael, do you have any favorite Black Stars cheer songs?
Well, I think one that takes us straight to the top, Talal Fatal.
You are the guy.
Yeah,
you are the guy.
The 2006 one. I think it evokes some wonderful memories. I remember prior to the game against Czech Republic. I think that was our second game.
Yes, it was.
After we had lost to Italy. And I remember they played it for several times. They were set to start the production, but it looks like there was a delay. So they played it several times, and then they did like 10-15 minutes of their pre-match talk. Then they acted in the game. The moment the game started, as Amajan scored, then they played that song again, and it has stuck. I think it's beautiful. That aside, Grace Ashley's song can also not be forgotten. How she goes about Ghana Black Stars, yeah, Black Stars, yeah. I think it was new. It was new to the terrain, having a woman sing a song that will actually become a Jama song, a chant across the stadium. I think it was beautiful as well. I think those two stand out for me. The rest that we've been having, like the one that you just played, Kudus Day, yep, they are nice, but I don't think they have really made a mark like we felt with Grace Ashley's song and then Talal Fatal's song. Those songs actually made a mark, and it was played across everywhere. I love the vibe so much, and the kind of memories. Maybe the Kudus Day did not really give us much moment or beautiful moments at the last World Cup. But when we speak to Talal Fatal's own, we can remember all the beautiful moments we enjoyed in 2006. Grace Ashley's in 2010, it gave us some beautiful memories as well. So I want to align with Grace Ashley's and then Talal Fatal's.
Well, wonderful stuff. I completely agree with you. And you're right, it takes us way back, 2006, all of us experiencing the World Cup on a personal level because Ghana was involved. Now, for context, for those who are young, you've never heard a Talal Fatal song, or you've heard snippets and you don't quite understand what we mean. Here's Talal Fatal song, straight to the top, from 2006.
Come on, let's cheer the stars to victory, victory, victory. Oh, they're gonna climb every mountain, I know they're gonna cross every river, and they will make the name of Ghana proud. 'Cause we can feel it in our hearts. They're going straight to the top. They're going There's no turning back, no turning back from that dream. I know black, red, gold, and green. Come on, fulfill the promise of hope and glory. Hope and glory, hope and glory. Oh, they're gonna climb every mountain. I know they're gonna cross every river. And they will raise the flag of Ghana. 'Cause we can feel it in our hearts. They're going straight to the south.
Come on, people, let's do it for the boys. Ghana people, let me hear your voice. Word. Let them know Black Stars is your choice. We're going all out to the top.
They're gonna climb every mountain. Oh, they're gonna cross every river. And they will raise the flag of Ghana. 'Cause we can feel it in our hearts. They're going straight to the south. Come on, Black Stars.
So Salah Fatah from 2006. If you were old enough and you remember that those were good times. For the younger generation, well. Anyway, this is just a bit on the side. The World Cup is actually 37 days away, so we are all getting ready to an extent. As we said, let's talk about the World Cup and Black Stars and all. May 19, the Black Stars will know who they will be facing in the AFCON qualifiers. May 19, they will know who they will face in the AFCON qualifiers. So that's just on the side of the Black Stars. Last week, did you hear the story that said that Carlos Queiroz had started, chit-chatting with players and monitoring all of that?
Nathan, that is what you get from professionals like Carlos Queiroz. So Carlos Queiroz is not interested in the media razzmatazz or the let everybody know what you are doing or let everybody see what you are doing kind of work. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the whole. He's not interested in the whole PR thing around the work you do. Okay, that's what you get from seasoned, experienced managers. You know, today there's talk about Neymar joining the Brazilian national team.
Yep.
And I think I read somewhere that Casemiro is saying Neymar wouldn't mind joining the Brazil national team and even sitting on the bench and having to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
He won't have a problem with that. Okay. Behind the scenes, Carlo is working. Carlo is having conversations. But you won't see pictures coming out of Carlo and Neymar, Carlo and Casemiro. You won't see that. That's what you get from top professionals. One day, Cotoado went to visit Thomas Partey at Arsenal. The next day, our coach was starstruck. This was our coach with Arteta and Partey. One picture.
But why say he shouldn't take
Another
pictures?
time we saw our coach with Pep Guardiola and I said, what? Look. So, for coaches like Otto, they were more interested in the optics. To be seen to be working, you see, Accra have the Accra motto. To be
is better than to seem to be. Esekwam with
Thank you very much. So a man was busy trying to be seen doing the work. But Nathan, it's a groundswork.
As I read,
That's Michael.
Raymond has said the thing.
You see,
It's a groundswork.
It's a ground.
It's a groundswork.
so as we speak today, if Carlos Queiroz has met his entire squad, nobody knows. But he's working. It's a groundswork.
Yeah.
So I am happy that he's doing his work quietly. He's watching players quietly. Getting ready to announce his squad for a friendly against Mexico.
Yeah.
It's good. And we are hoping that the surprises we want to see call-ups, that to see a Black Stars, that to look very competitive when they play, and in terms of selection, the coach would have headache when it comes to selecting his best 26 for the World Cup. So I want to see players competing for places. So that Atakon, who has been benched by his female coach, will now realize that, look,
he has to work.
He has to work hard to go to the World Cup. He shouldn't think that assist he gave against Germany has bought him a ticket to go to the World Cup. He has to play. He has to be consistent. Otherwise, Baba, who has been consistent, after having conversations with Carlos Queiroz, will take his spot. And Gideon Mensah, who has been a regular feature in the team, will take his spot ahead of Atakon. You see, players like that must know that there's competition in the squad. So that Alexander Djiku will get up and know that, look, Carlos Queiroz doesn't play with his defense. And if he feels you don't fit the bill for him, he'll drop you.
Okay.
You see, I won't be surprised if Carlos Queiroz going to the World Cup, he picks a defender and says this defender can do a job for me in central midfield and place him in central midfield. He's done it before. He did it to Pepe. You understand? So that is the kind of coach we have. You create competition in the squad. Nobody's place is guaranteed at this point, apart from Semenyo. The only player who has his ticket to the World Cup is Semenyo. True or false?
Okay.
Even Jordan, despite the fact that he's captain, if he goes to the World Cup, he may not even be guaranteed a starting bed. So everybody's position is shaky. Because Carlos knows, you see, 40 years of experience and handling a situation like this, you can't expect Carlos Queiroz to fluff his lines. Okay. He has to do a thorough job and make sure, even if the Black Stars do not go to the World Cup and exit or qualify to the next round of the competition, he wants people to see the Black Stars in a certain way.
Yeah.
A team that is very difficult to beat, a team that has quality, and a team that should be respected. That is how Carlos would leave the Black Stars. And so, Ethan, I like the way he's going about his work. Now we know Don Gaspar is in town. So according to reports, Don Gaspar was expected in town somewhere last week to look at our goalkeepers. And of course, we have conversations with Fatau Dauda. And I'm sure post that conversation, he watched Atizigi over the weekend collect a few goals. I'm sure he watched Benjamin Asari. And I'm sure he's looking at a few other goalkeepers as well. So again, it's a groundwork. And we like the way things are going smoothly.
Okay.
Without noise.
Without noise. Interesting. Michael, let me bring you in. Yesterday, the news stories made the round, and I'm sure you've seen it. The draw for the AFCON is the 19th of May. They've laid out the various match days for the qualifiers. September 21, October 6th, November 9 to 17, and then March 22 to 30, 2027, with the final tournament set for 19th June to 17th July 2027 in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. I know that the Black Stars have got a World Cup to think about, but do you think that the AFCON qualifiers will be on their mind for very obvious reasons? We didn't qualify to the last one. Do you think that the team will be thinking about how to navigate the upcoming qualifiers so we don't have a repeat of the disaster we experienced sometime last year?
But I think the qualifiers is an important one for me, owing to various reasons. One of them has to do with the fact that we did not qualify for the last AFCON, and it will be utterly embarrassing that we'll miss out on consecutive AFCON appearances in the space of less than years. So it is very important that we make it to the next World Cup, which will be another interesting one. It will be the first time that 3 countries have combined within the Eastern African enclave to host Africa's biggest football showpiece. So for us not qualifying for the last AFCON, it is very necessary that we make it for this edition. 2, I think it is also an important phase in terms of our team building, because it would form part of a certain era that would need us to usher in some new faces and also maybe bid goodbye to some old faces in the team. So it's an important era. where we need to transition from one stage to the other. Again, if Carlos Queiroz, if he has a good World Cup, it means there's a tendency he would continue. But if that does not happen, it means a new coach will be coming in, and that will be the stage where that new coach will be trying to also impose his ideas on the team, trying to understand the team, give them an identity, and also try to select a crack team that can deliver on the field for us. So it's an important phase for us. We need to make the AFCON, and then we also need to build a team, whether we continue with Carlos Queiroz or we continue with any other new coach that will be willing to accept the Black Stars job. So it is very important. Now, my case is this. In such a phase, it means we don't have a select group of players that we can consistently rely on. So there will likely be changes. And recently, I have seen call-ups to the Black Galaxies. They've been calmed. Some players have played series of games and all that. I want to see that when the AFCON qualifiers do come up, not necessarily the World Cup, I want to see a couple of local players being blended into the team to be part of the AFCON qualification squad, so that they will go through the phase, understand it, and if they hold enough promise, we can trust them to do a job going forward. So I think it is very important that we take it serious, and owing to some of the reasons I've explained them more, and it is very necessary that we pay particular attention to it. In as much as there's a World Cup that is upcoming and we need to really be serious about preparations and everything, we should also have an eye on the AFCON qualification process and not underestimate any team. At the last qualification process, we had teams that relatively we stood a chance against because it was 2 out of 4 in the group. And then we fumbled it in a group that had Niger, had Sudan, had Angola. Against us, Ghana placed last in that group. So it means that we cannot leave anything to chance. We must actually prioritize qualifying to the next AFCON, and the job must start immediately the draw is conducted, and we know the kind of teams that we are facing. It is very, very necessary.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. I just wanted us to touch on it because, of course, the news came out, and I just couldn't help but think that this will be on the minds of the national team selectors, irrespective of who handles the Black Stars after the World Cup, whether Mr. Queiroz stays. Some people don't think he should because some people say, look, it will cost us too much. But we'll see. But for our listeners, the AFCON qualifiers will look like this. 48 teams will get into those qualifiers. Those 48 teams will be split into 12 groups of 4 teams each. And then the top 2 teams from each group will qualify for the competition, meaning that 24 teams will be going to the AFCON in 2027, 24 teams. So I think that there will be 6 groups of 4 teams each in the main competition, and then CAF will work out how we choose the teams that make it to the next stage. So I think it will be top 2 for each group. That makes 12, right? And then they'll pick 4 best placed teams to make it 16. We move to the second round, quarterfinals, and the competition evolves from there. So for those who are asking how the AFCON qualifiers will play out, well, that's the news. Let me run through the dates again for those who are interested. Match day 1 and 2, September 21 to the 6th of October 2026. Match days 3 and 4, 9th to the 17th of November. And then match days 5 and 6, March 22 to 30 in 2027. Because I think going forward, the international window has been expanded. Michael, we are about to experience the expansion, right? It kicks in when the new season starts.
Exactly, right after the World Cup.
Okay, so for those who are asking what we mean by this. Now, you know that, listeners, your typical international break is about 1 week to 10 days, something of the sort. Now, FIFA has expanded the international window, so there are 2 full weeks of international. So that is how come the AFCON qualifiers, if you study the dates I've given you, September 21 to October 6th, that's a good duration of time. So the 2 matches will be played. Match day 3 and 4, 9th to the 17th of November. And then in March 2027, there are match days 5 and 6, with the final tournament set for the 19th of June and the 17th of July, 2027. Well, we wait and see. We'll see what happens to the Black Stars, who handles them after the World Cup. But what is on the menu is the World Cup. Your comments are welcome. 054-257-1061. We'll try and get to your comments in a bit. Imelda, can you please help me with some messages? Let's see if we have some messages that have come through on 054-257-1061. 054-257-1061. This is the Sporty Breakfast. We'll continue with some more football. Last night or yesterday, there were 2 Premier League games. Chelsea 1, Nottingham Forest 3. Everton 3, Man City 3. And then we'll talk some Champions League. Arsenal are locked at 1-1 with Atletico Madrid, who goes through to the final. Let me go through some messages, and then I'll get to Ray. I'll get to Michael Asari-Bredu, who's still on the line. My namesake Nathan from Kaswa says, "Good morning, guys. The last Black Star song, dear. The intro sounds like we're about to hear. Hey, be very careful. That's Raymond's song."
No. It should take his time.
Okay. Then he says that those players who were constantly getting call-ups under Otto and were not given the opportunity, and were not either given the opportunity or not performing. I want to see how many will be in Mr. Keros' squad. Says the Premier League is now in Arsenal and Arteta's hands. If they make the UCL a distraction, they might easily lose both. Because even if they are able to kick Atletico Madrid out, they will still lose to either Bayern or Paris Saint-Germain. Interesting. Let me go through. Ahmed from Boku says, "I prefer Iraola. His teams play exciting football, score more goals. In addition to that, he improves players, and that's what we need based on policy and the kind of young talent we have." I guess he's a Chelsea supporter. Okay. This one says, "Chelsea don't need a coach now. What we need is for those 5 sporting directors to leave the team." Interesting. This one says, I don't agree, Coach, with Coach Nimley that Amorim would have qualified Man United for Champions League if he was still the manager. Kobe Menu, who has been the difference in the team, would not have played. Okay, no problem. Interesting there. Okay. 054-257-1061. Ray, we'll do a bit of an update from the Ghana Premier League, because yesterday you sent me an update.
Yes, on the Vision FC case.
Yes, on the Vision FC case.
Very,
so
very important.
I don't know if we should get into that, but anyway, let's do Premier League. Try and get that statement for me.
Yeah. So okay, good. It's here. That's
okay.
Right here.
Do you want to just read it?
Let me just read it for you. I raised this matter yesterday, and I was concerned about the silence on what happened there. So update on GFA regulatory actions. 2025-2026 season. Vision FC have been charged with breaches of GFA Disciplinary Code 2019 following their Ghana Premier League game against Red All Blacks United FC. It is alleged that the club failed to ensure the safety of match officials and that supporters of the club behaved inappropriately after the game. The club has until close of Wednesday, 7th May 2026 to submit a response to the charges. So yesterday, I confirmed to you that post-game, a section of the fans rushed onto the pitch. One fan in particular hit a referee. Had to be restrained by the police.
Yes.
Was arrested afterwards. And there was a bit of chaos post-game. Swede All Blacks won that game 1-0 at the Nia J. Kraku.
2-1 actually.
2-1 at the Nia J. Kraku Sports FM. So fans clearly looked like they were unhappy, and I think that the disciplinary committee have zeroed in on the fans that misbehaved. That is why they have charged Vision FC. So that's the updates there.
Okay, all right. That's quite interesting. We'll wait to see what Vision will tell us. But let's do some Premier League. Michael, yesterday there were 2 very interesting Premier League games. Let's start with the first one. Chelsea played in the afternoon, a rare Monday afternoon game on in terms of the Premier League. It didn't end up well at all. Chelsea losing by 1-3 to Nottingham Forest. Michael, quick thoughts on that. Earlier I was chatting with Nana Kwame Labi. He seems to think that Chelsea players have packed up for the season. They've checked out, and that they are looking ahead to next season. Where do you stand on that? What do you make of that? And what did you make of the game itself?
Well, I think it's the approach and the mentality. You could tell clearly there were alterations to the Nottingham Forest team. They made changes because they also had in mind the Europa League semi-final clash against. They knew they had to rest some key players, but you could not really make a case for for Chelsea that they were playing against a team that was much changed. It looked like Nottingham Forest was rather the team that had maintained this core 11, and Chelsea were the ones that had actually rotated. The approach was poor right from the start. It didn't look took advantage of the situation. Now, the situation at Chelsea is that, especially at Stamford Bridge, they've not recorded too many positive results. So just when one goal enters, it brings back the nerves, not just among the players, the technical team, and then the fans. And so you could actually feel it. And Chelsea never recovered from that. It looked like they were not ready. It looked like they were at a venue where they did not want to be. And Nottingham took advantage of it. Don't forget that they are not all that secured in terms of their Premier League status. So they needed it the most. I understand Chelsea still needed to put in a fight for their Champions League, blah, blah, blah. But you did not really see it from them. And it was no different from the kind of approach, the kind of mentality that Chelsea exhibited in their last Premier League defeat against Brighton and Hove Albion. Yes, the FA Cup against Leeds was different, but how they played against Brighton that led to the sacking of Liam Rosinia was no different from the kind of start they had in this game. And it is true, Chelsea's defense is that bad. A Chelsea defense that has Tosin Adarabioyo, Trevor Chalobah, Gusto Malo. These are players who on any day can do a job, but you need to pair them with competent players. But when you have three players out of your back four who are not assured enough in terms of defending, definitely they are going to cause issues. So it wasn't also surprising, and maybe we need to question the starting lineup from Callum McFarlane. But altogether, Chelsea have been that poor. And I might maybe agree with Anakwame when he says that the players are gradually thinking about next season. I think whatever happened with Maresca leaving and then what has happened in terms of results that they are not getting, a lot of these players have checked out. And don't forget, it is a World Cup year. These players are also privy to what has been happening to others who are going over the barrier and then the injuries that they've been getting. So maybe why not preserve ourselves for the World Cup, because there's not much to fight for. And maybe in the FA Cup final against Manchester City, they give us an out-of-the-world performance, get that FA Cup win, it qualifies them for the Europa League, and then they can focus on their national team careers when the World Cup comes calling. So I think, yes, to an extent, we don't see that much fight from the players, but it is much more about a combination of factors, loss of form to players, poor decision-making by the directors, poor coaching to an extent, and overall, the mentality and character of this team looks very different from the one that played the final of the Club World Championship against Paris Saint-Germain. They were making then, but what we've seen now is that Chelsea have retrogressed, and that is the biggest issue that needs addressing.
In terms of stopping that slide, they'll have to bring in somebody. It's the biggest decision Chelsea will need to make in the off-season. What options are there? Who exactly should they find, or who should they aim to bring in, looking at a season potentially without European football? If they don't grab it through the league or the FA Cup, then Chelsea will have to play a season without European football. Who is actually out there, and who should be the person who you think can take Chelsea, to a better place? Let me put it that way.
If you ask any Chelsea fan now, I think their biggest concern lies not in the kind of coach they appoint, but it's in the sporting direction. There seems to be a lot of ambiguity. Nobody knows where they want to get to. Yes, the understanding that they needed to get in young players with potential, tie them down to long-term contracts. It made sense at a point in time because it looked like Chelsea were not established under firm pillars in the latter days of Roman Abramovich. And so when some players left, Chelsea were badly exposed. So the clear understanding to establish a core of young players who, it was much more about getting that quantity and not necessarily quality. Now, what Chelsea needed after winning the Club World Championship was to upgrade with quality so that you are able to at least close the gap in terms of where you are and where you want to get to. But the direction of this model, sporting wise, did not make sense because, for instance, Chelsea paid over £100 million on two players, Jamie Bino Gittins and then Alejandro Garnacho, who have not really contributed. So the sporting sense it doesn't make is that if you can spend 100 million and then if you are paying them good money in terms of weekly wages, why not put them together, get one quality player who can play such a role? So it is much more like a lot of fans are in disagreement as regards the sporting direction of the club. And if the same model is going to be practiced, then it means they are not going to get any top coach to come on board. And I say this because this is the same Chelsea model that interviewed Luis Enrique and allowed him to go because there were certain issues with Enrique coming on board. They want to take decisions and impose it on the coach because they believe that in as much as the coach is important, he is not that relevant in the grand scheme of affairs regarding how they want to do things. And so if you are going to bring in coaches like Enrique, who want to a certain extent some power, some control, some authority in terms of decision making, it will not align to their sporting direction or the model they want to practice. So I think that needs to change first and foremost. If that changes, then we can see that there will be changes to how Chelsea do their things, and then it would influence to an extent the kind of coach they bring on board. I was following an interview Cesc Fabregas did with the Telegraph where he said that at Como, he is allowed to take most of the football decisions, and it is because he and the sporting directors align, but also because the hierarchy of a club, the president, have come to understand that he should mold the team in his identity. So with this mindset, it is easier for Fabregas to work and operate within the Como model. Now you lift him, he's an excellent coach, and you place him in the Chelsea model, where he will not get a lot of control. He will not have his way in terms of players who come in and players who go out. It would likely not impact positively on what he wants to do in terms of the technical direction of the club. And that is where I find issues with the Chelsea bid. So I've seen names, Xabi Alonso and the rest running through. If there is not a change in the sporting model that Chelsea wants to practice, trust me, they'll go about all these names, and at the end of the day, they'll go for a less fancied manager who they think they can have their way with. I will not even be surprised if they go for McKenna of Ipswich, because he's one who will agree to such a model, and they will sidestep the Alonso's and the Fabregases that we've mentioned their names. So, in my opinion, what is most is an alteration of the sporting model and them accommodating that it has gotten to the stage to prioritize quality over quantity. It is not just about numbers, but about impact. Until they do that, and then they come to also embrace the fact that a coach is as important as a sporting director in the grand scheme of affairs, then we can make progress. But trust me, under this same model, and then the way they are running it, I don't think they'll go for any top manager. And I don't think any top manager who knows his worth will also agree to work within such a structure. So that is where the problem is. If they make adjustments, then Chelsea will be good to go.
Well, we will see where they go from here. For Forest, interesting way to get ready for their Europa League semi-final second leg. They lead by a goal to nil against Aston Villa. That second leg will be played at Villa Park on Thursday night. And then in the evening, we had a crazy encounter. Everton 3, Manchester City 3. Manchester City took the lead through Jeremy Doku. And then in 13 second half minutes, everything turned on its head. Everton equalized, went 2-1 up, went 3-1 up. Erling Haaland made it 3-2, and Jeremy Doku had the final say to make it 3-3. Michael, huge advantage Arsenal. But before that, though, your thoughts on the game? It looked like Man City had it in their hand, but Everton had other ideas.
Definitely, and it is a symptom of how City have played most times this season. They score one, I don't know if it is an automatic thing. They score one and they take their foot off the pedal, play a set of boring passes, and you don't really tell the purpose. It looks like they drop in terms of intensity whenever they take the lead. And that's how come it's not surprising that they have dropped points from winning positions in 8 Premier League matches, meaning they've dropped 16 or 17 points, I stand to be corrected, from winning positions. It should tell you, it is actually a shift in mentality. When they haven't scored, they are okay. The moment they score, it puts pressure on them. And yesterday you could tell, right after halftime, in the second half, from the second half start to around the 60th minute, you could actually tell that City were calling for it. They were inviting Everton, because you could tell there was an increase in the aggression that Everton applied, maybe owing to what David Moyes had told them during the halftime team talk. But there was a change in the approach of Everton, and likewise, there was a change in the approach of City. In the case of Everton, it was about adding much intensity and aggression. For City, they did not even maintain how they played the first half. There was a drop, and the more it happens, players lose focus. So I was not surprised in that pass from Gay that led to Barry scoring the first Everton goal, because it looked like City had dropped, and then they were caught sleeping, and they were punished for it. And to me, I think it's more of a Pep problem. When he sees this, what does he do about it? Does he need to ring in changes? Does he need to constantly back instructions at the players to get them on? But he looked like he was okay. He was observing this, and this traveled for beyond 15 minutes. And any coach who notices this should do something about it. So that gives me the inclination that perhaps it could be a way that Pep encourages them to maintain possession, don't concede the ball too early, don't risk it too much, let's protect what we have. And that was a poor way of doing it. If it was Arsenal that was doing that regularly, it should have been news by now, and we would have been discussing it, and we'll be berating Arteta. So if it is Pep, then again, we need to look at it. So it has happened. You can check Man City, Chelsea, in the game that ended 1-1 at the Etihad, they did it. Man City, Brighton, they did it, the same. And then Man City against Spurs, they scored 2, and then they considered 2 goals in the second half to make it a 2-2 draw. Against Nottingham Forest, it was a game they scored, considered an equalizer, scored again, thought they had won, and considered a late equalizer. So it has been happening to them. Whenever City takes the lead, they have the tendency to drop, and they were punished for it. And this should not be happening at the stage of the season. They should be doing better. They should be doing more. And I think what it does now is that it hands the initiative back to Arsenal. First, it was in their hands. They had a healthy gap, and then unfortunately they let it slip. City capitalized on it, and now City have also dropped. So it's advantage Arsenal, and it will matter what Arsenal do. But I think it was a self-inflicted pain and a self-inflicted situation created by Manchester City, and that is how come they find themselves where they are. Pep should do something about it, but I doubt if it will be enough to restore them back as favorites for the title.
Well, if you ask me, I think the title challenge has swung one more time, and I think that swing is going to be permanent. Talking about Manchester City, though, news coming in says that Phil Foden has reached an agreement over a new Manchester City deal. The deal is set to last 4 years, and he has an agreement in principle over a new 4-year deal. He struggled for form in the last few months, but it looks like the people at City trust him that he'll turn things around. Kelvin is back. Kelvin, what it was a very, very, I mean, from an Arsenal persuasion, but I mean, just looking at it objectively, Man City have got problems on their hands. They cannot seem to close games out, and they allowed Everton right back into the game, and they've given themselves a mountain to climb in the title race.
That has always been their flaw, and I this season, and it's all because of one particular player who has been absent for quite too long. He returned, City got back into their groove, and they are off again, all because of his absence. That player is Rodri. Many will say ACL has not brought him back to the levels we saw him when he was winning the Ballon d'Or, but I tell you, his absence has really cost Manchester City. Just look at when he returned and he was playing. That was when City started picking up the pieces. You know, keeping the chase on Arsenal for about over 10 games. They hadn't lost. And they bridged the gap almost every now and then when Arsenal fell. But just when he got injured and couldn't play again for them, look at how much they are struggling, even in their FA Cup semi-final. We also saw how difficult it was for them. Southampton virtually dominated most parts of the game, especially in the second half, until Nico Gonzalez gave them that wonderful, match winner. Pep is struggling to find that antidote. Mm-hmm. And when you have such players, they are controllers for you. Kovacic may not be casting that model. Nico Gonzalez is not casting that model. Bernardo Silva will do his best, but he is not a Rodri. And Pep's teams, everyone knows, have always survived when he has an able DM who knows his job. Mm-hmm. From Busquets to Fernando. Mm-hmm. That's sort of to Rodri. You need that kind of a player to just make things work for you. But City haven't had that. And this is the City team that is so overly reliant on their centre forward to finish off games. If the centre forward is off, it becomes difficult. Yesterday, just look at that. Fine, Doku might have scored 2 goals. Mm-hmm. But who instigated the comeback? Look at that run. How many centre forwards will make that move to pick up that pass for that second goal?
The 3-2.
Yes.
Okay.
It has all been Erling Haaland, but this season, because of his injuries and then his goals drying up. If it was any other season, by this point, Haaland is over 25 goals. Yeah. But now he's 20 is it 23 or 24?
Now 24, yes, I think.
It clearly tells you there's a gap. And City have had liabilities in their defensive department as well. So it's a team that is being remolded from what they were years ago. Years ago, you could just close your eyes and Kyle Walker is at right back. City are sorted. When he's not available, John Stones steps in, he plays, and they are sorted. At left back, whether it's Zinchenko or there's this other guy, whether João Cancelo steps in, they are sorted. In central defense, even when it was Lescott, and company, you had the confidence that yes, there was someone solid in there. But now look at the City defense.
A midfielder playing at right back.
You get it.
A midfielder playing at left back.
Yes.
And 2 centre backs, one who's composed and good, the other who is still learning.
Very good.
Kuzanov and Gehi. And yesterday, Gehi made a very uncharacteristic mistake.
And they only had to take a team to bring the nerves out of the City players. There have been games that I've seen the nerves. It's the reason why many think I don't like Arteta. But I said I've checked out of how he wants to play with Arsenal. Mm-hmm. Because if any team takes the game to Manchester City, City makes a lot of mistakes. But it depends on you, on how you are going to punish them or take your chances. Yeah. Even in the FA Cup, where they booted us, the Carabao Cup, you could clearly see, and even in the league, when Arsenal took the game to them, they were making mistakes. Just that Arsenal couldn't finish off the chances. We all saw how Kai Havertz wasted the opportunities. Yeah. So City haven't been the City that we knew. Just that teams haven't been ruthless enough. And they themselves, with their deficiencies, haven't been able to solve them. Pep might have had Semenyo, Gehi, Rancheki coming to the party in the last 4 months. But it was still always not going to be enough because the City team was going to crumble at a point. And you could clearly see the signs were clear. Because on any day, when Manchester City has the turn of the season and it gets to late January, early February, they don't even draw points. They don't draw. They win. Bam, bam. And they are convincing wins. They don't scrap the wins out of the games. Yeah. They win easily. But this was at a point where teams only had to knock through their softest part and let them know that there is a liability. There's a liability.
You mentioned the signs.
Yeah.
I think that I noticed when they drew 2-2 with Nottingham Forest, and I think that draw was a very telling result because it was when I think that was the day when I began to see that no, City had issues, and if they didn't learn how to kill games off quickly, they would struggle. And Forest did what Everton did in the second half. They upped the tempo, played at pace, became aggressive, and Man City couldn't find a way back. So huge advantage to Arsenal now.
And City were all nerves.
Yeah.
On any day, Gehi won't make that pass.
I don't know why he decided to
Gehi,
go
yes,
with that one. That's an error he will rarely make.
Exactly. And I'm like, what was happening? What was he thinking? Why would he make that? And you could see 6s and 7s.
They were.
And I think David Moyes actually got his subs right.
The
When
changes
Beto,
made sense. Beto wasn't offering anything.
and he had a yellow card, and they were chasing the game where he expected Beto to be pressing, which meant he could have easily gotten
a red
himself
card, yes,
a second yellow.
Yeah.
Got him off. Thierry Barry just came on.
Brilliant.
It was Elima Ndiaye who was wasteful.
Yeah.
They could have probably shot into the lead before.
They had this 1v1
Yes.
with Donnarumma.
He had 2 1v1s. There was one, I think the defenders recovered and he got an opportunity. And I'm like, come on, this is not how Elima Ndiaye finishes. So I think that it was quite unfortunate, but it's clearly a sign that City have just put the title chase back into the hands of Arsenal.
Yeah.
It's not over until it's over, just like Pep is saying. But out of the 4 games remaining,
City have got complicated ones.
exactly.
They play at home to Brentford this weekend.
Yes.
And Brentford do have their recent history at the Etihad is a very interesting one.
Yes.
When Ivan Toney was there, they won some game by 2 goals to 1.
Yes.
And I think they've gone there to pick up points. So it's not as though City have this easy run. No.
Yes.
It's a complicated run.
And you look at what is happening with Brentford too, and they have an opportunity.
They have ambitions.
to get into Europe.
Yeah, they have European ambitions.
And there is one thing Keith Andrews wants to do: prove to the rest that he's done better
than Thomas
Frank, and he has to prove it. They lie 7th on the log, which is a Conference League spot. If they win, they could get into the Europa League ahead of AFC Bournemouth. And that is what they are relishing. That is what they want to do. So if there is anyone who may be thinking otherwise, City have a game. And they have Bournemouth who are also looking for a place. Andoni Iraola is bowing out though. But he is bowing out. He wants to leave as a Marco Rose with an opportunity to play.
With a very good team.
A good team. He has already given him a good team. Because to bring Ryan, to bring him Ryan, to get the best of Krupi Jr., Lucas Senisi, and all that. These players are playing some very good football.
Scott.
Tavernier. They want to get into Europe. So City have it, and they have Crystal Palace, who also don't want to sink. Because Palace lie 43 points. Fine, Spurs are too far off them. But they would want to, keep away from all troubles. Because the last games are 12 points. 9 points. They have a game in hand against City, which they have to play. 9 points. They lead. They
lead Forest by 1.
So they lead West Ham. They lead West Ham. West Ham by 7.
And there are 3 games left.
Exactly, 3 games, 7. You may lose 2, draw 1,
and you have a problem on your hands. Yeah.
That is provided. Let's say the City game, even if you lose that game, if you lose 2 and you draw 1, by virtue of goals difference, you could sink. And this is a game of football. Anything could happen. So they won't leave anything to chance. And that is why it's going to be quite difficult. Arsenal definitely has Crystal Palace and also West Ham to play.
Arsenal play Palace on final day.
Yes.
Before that is West Ham.
But then they have an easy game against Burnley,
who are
where they could win, depending on what happens over the weekend against West Ham, and then Manchester City at Brentford.
Manchester City hosting Brentford.
Yes. So it's quite a bit,
For Arsenal, the game plan is simple: win all your games. Just win, and then
win all your games and seal the title. So it's now in Arteta's hand. Whatever he has to do with this, he has to do with it. And gladly, I think this is going to be, quite a boost for them. It's going to be a boost for them.
Let me ask you this before we switch to talk about the Champions League. should Arteta win the Premier League, it gives him extra time, right?
Yeah, even if it doesn't win,
You think if he doesn't win, he's going
to stay because in January, Arsenal offered him a new contract and he said, no, I want to finish the season. Now, this is a manager who took you from one point of failing to even qualify for the Champions League. And he's brought you to 2 successive semi-final appearances in
three second place finishes, and now
almost
potentially
crossing the line. Brought you closer to a Carabao Cup final. He got you closer to winning a Carabao Cup. And let's not forget, what gave him that length was the FA Cup win. So now he's looking at the next step. If I get Arsenal to the final, if I get them to win this season's Premier League, it gives him lots of time ahead. And Arsenal trust him that project that he built, and he said they should give him 5 years, 6 years. He's going to tell. He's in a city here, and it looks like everything is coming, together for him. So he stays for me. If Arsenal sack him, I always say Arsenal have opportunities to bring in new managers. And I haven't liked Arteta's style of play this season, especially in the second round. He's too conservative, not taking risks and all that. And yesterday, I don't know, because we did not discuss the Premier League, did you see the Eze pass that opened up the defense, Fulham defense, and Gyökeres picked it up, gave that ball to Bukayo Saka and scored that second goal. As soon as he picked the ball, Arteta was like, calm down, telling them to keep cool and then restart play from defense. But Eze, with his attacking instinct, just gave that ball ahead. It's the same thing with Miles Lewis Kelly. So I just feel Arteta will stay on, and Arsenal might have dreams of just at least 2-3 more years. Let's see how he's going to dominate, repeat it, and because now he's brought in players. Now he has to let go some of them, which next season we know someone like Gabriel Jesus and even Ben White and the likes may leave.
Okay.
Now we would have to fill in and then see if he can stay at the very top for 1, 2, or 3 more seasons for Arsenal. Because if a manager has proven that he's built a team that gets into the semi-final of the Champions League for the last 2 years, it means that if you keep him, he could be an upgrade and then get you your first ever European title.
Well, we'll see. Talking about European titles, Arsenal host Atletico Madrid tonight in the UEFA Champions League second leg. The game is locked at 1-1. Nobody has an advantage in terms of numerics, right? The scoreline, blah, blah, blah. But I think that psychologically, I think Arsenal do have a bit of an advantage. Michael is still on. Michael, let's get into that Champions League conversation. Time is locked at 1-1. But you do get the feeling that it is Arsenal who will be very happy with where the game is as things stand.
Definitely, they will be very confident, judging by what has happened in the past week. After drawing against Atletico, they comprehensively defeated Fulham. And then the good news they also witnessed yesterday, talk of Everton stealing points from Manchester City. It would definitely shoot the confidence levels of this Arsenal team. Again, the performance of Victor Gyökeres in that Fulham game would also help him. Bukayo Saka himself had a very good game. It would also boost his confidence level. So I think Arsenal approached this game a different side as compared to Atletico Madrid, who are playing under pressure because it looks like the Champions League is their only hope. For a time, they thought maybe they could win the Copa del Rey, claim some piece of silverware, and that would have calmed them down and given them a confidence. Now they play under pressure, and their own fans seems to have turned against them. So it is a different picture. Again, Arsenal will go in more convinced and more confident, judging by the fact that it is the same opponent they defeated during the league phase of a competition here at the same venue. And so I think it favors Arsenal more, and that it is not surprising the bookies have tipped Arsenal to overcome Atletico Madrid. But this is the Champions League, and any team that has made it thus far is capable of upstaging the opponent on such occasions. So you cannot underrate them. So it means in as much as Arsenal are favourites, they still need to do a job, and that job is simple. Play against Atleti and record a win. Can they manage that? Yes, they can. And if you look at the materials available at Arteta's disposal, I think he has a team that is capable of beating Atletico Madrid. It is not your typical Atleti team that we've known for some decades ago, where they come in, play streetwise football, have a certain mentality that is difficult to shake them off. This Atleti team is beatable on a day when a team does its job. And that is what Arteta needs to do. There were changes in the game against Fulham. We saw Lewis Kelly play in the middle, and he had a very good role. And then it enabled Martin Zubimendi to get some well-deserved rest because it looked like he had become fatigued. But I think he's going to be an instrumental figure in this game. Talk of Zubimendi. In the Champions League, it is quite different from the Premier League. The Premier League is intense. You need players to apply a certain level of physicality. In the Champions League, it's open. And it's much more about your knowledge of the opponent. And I think that is what Zubimendi has. He knows this Athletic team very well, owing to his previous spell at Real Sociedad. And then he's also faced them twice this season in the Champions League. One in the league phase, and then the other during the first leg game of the semi-final. And I think his qualities would actually play to Arsenal's advantage. He's one that you can trust without the ball to help in terms of putting in tackles, in terms of screening, and then reading the situation and averting any danger. And then two, when he's on the ball, he has certain qualities to contribute, which we cannot attest to. So I think in a Champions League game, where Zubimendi has had enough rest, his understanding of the opponent and then his overall football qualities would help Arsenal very, very well. Declan Rice looks to be enjoying a much more deeper role, like he did in the game against Fulham. What it did for Arsenal was that it created that platform for Miles Lewis Kelly to also play his game, do an excellent box-to-box, and it worked well for him. So I am thinking Zubimendi-Declan Rice partnership is very integral to Arsenal's chances of defeating Atletico Madrid. Atleti's biggest strength would definitely be their wing attackers, but they also depend on the midfield for control, for combat, for fight. They need to compete against the opponent from the middle and then try to initiate the fast breaks. And that is what they mostly derive a lot of strength from. So I think if Arsenal seizes the midfield and make it their own, it kind of take control away from Atleti, and it makes it difficult for them. Again, in terms of the wing play, the return of Bukayo Saka is a breath of fresh air for the Arsenal side. What it means is that it gives them a double-edged approach. Whoever plays on the left, I don't want to see Martinelli playing there. The best is Martinelli needs to be a bench option. So if it is going to be Madueke or Leandro Trossard, I want to see that direct play from the left, and then Bukayo Saka's trickery and his ability to beat opponents easily also operating from the right. Then we can get the best out of Gil. I think Gyökeres is building his confidence. The goals he scored during the weekend has taken him to 21 goals for Arsenal this season. That is positive in all competitions. He needs to build on that. So if you trust him to continue, I think it is going to help. So my point is, Arsenal clearly have the plan, they have the materials, they have the design in terms of outwitting Atletico Madrid. What will matter most will be the team selection and then the application, and that they mustn't get wrong.
Quite interesting stuff for Atletico Madrid, and I'll take Kelvin's thoughts. Michael, I just want to wrap up with you. For Atletico, they've got problems on their hands. Injury concerns to Julian Alvarez. I've seen videos of him jogging up and down at the Emirates. I don't even know what Diego Simeone wants to do, but is he gambling with Alvarez? Should he start with Julian Alvarez tonight? Should he keep him off the bench? What should he do?
I think he's their most important attacker, not because of the volumes of goals he scored, but his overall attacking involvement. It mostly helps his side. And if he's available in their biggest game of the season, then I think he should play. In as much as he might have fitness concerns, aside this game, I don't think there's any other important game for Atleti to play. And their whole season will border on this match. The ability to make the Champions League final and maybe have a crack at winning the trophy is very important than completing the La Liga season. So if they can rest Alvarez in a game like this, why not? Just have a go at it. Because after this game, like I said, Atleti don't play any other important match. And Seloth himself is doubtful for the encounter because of a hamstring injury. So if you are going to miss out on Alvarez, who comes in to replace him? And you don't get a lot of options because almost all the attackers at Atleti's disposal are either central offensive midfielders like Alex Baena, Thiago Almada, or wing attackers like we have the Nico Gonzalez's or the Juliano Simeones. So Julian Alvarez is more of a hybrid. He can give you a central attacking threat and can also operate from the flanks. He's almost everywhere. And that's how come they call him the Spider. So I think they will need him most in this game than any other game they will play after this match. And so even if he is not fully fit, Atleti must be innovative enough, find ways to use him in this match to draw some positives from him. And I think that is what they need. So they can't afford to miss out on Julian Alvarez.
Well, we'll see. Atletico Madrid risking it. Ray, do you have something to say?
Oh, well, mine is on the spiritual side of things.
Every day, which spiritual
Nathan,
matter again?
You see,
Are you a pastor?
Take your time. Yesterday,
or ask me, it's a groundswell.
It's a groundswell. Yesterday, when Arsenal arrived, when Atletico arrived, they rejected the hotel they were given. So they decided to go for their own hotel. And Simeone has responded saying, it's not superstition. But in October, when they came, they stayed there. It feels like a cheaper hotel, so they don't want it anymore.
No problem.
So they've moved to another hotel.
No problem.
So, based on what we have seen, you see, what was supposed to have happened in that hotel will not happen.
What was to happen?
What should have happened there will not happen.
What will happen?
Now, Simeone and his Atletico team, they've moved to their own hotel. You understand?
Oh,
Nathan.
Guna.
They've changed their hotel. Is it Kevin? They've changed their hotel. And our man says it's not because of any superstition, but they've changed
Atletico
hotels.
are about to swallow it live.
You see, Nathan, look, what happened last season to Arsenal will happen again.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Nathan, what happened to Arsenal last season? Where they beat a team in the league phase, met them in the knockout phase, and got dumped out.
Ray,
it will happen again.
Ray, if you see a team that can potentially beat Arsenal, you will see.
Look, if it comes to a team that can do a job on a team, it's Atletico.
Atletico, they were hanging on by the skin of their teeth in the previous round.
Nathan, this is mission possible.
What is happening?
Take your time. You're on. This is mission possible. It's mission possible for Atletico.
No, I don't think so.
Nathan, tomorrow you give me my story. I'm telling you, look, that hotel change alone. That hotel change alone. You see, me, when you are doing the analysis, Michael has done analysis, Kevin has done analysis. Me, I'll take you to the spiritual side of things. What we are seeing.
So what? Because in life, everything is not only about the physical. There are the spiritual dimensions.
So I'll leave Kevin and Michael to do the physical things. And then we will take you to the spiritual side. Look, Nathan.
Ray, none of your spiritual analysis has played out.
The signals Atletico picked because of the hotel alone. It's giving us the assurance that they can do the job.
You will see.
You see, it means that they've covered all the grounds. They've done their grounds work.
No, but Kelvin, I mean, over the weekend I saw a very liberated Arsenal play against Fulham. I think the best way to attack Atletico is to play that same way, at least in the first 45 minutes. Liberate the players, let them attack Atletico because it's 1-1, no advantage. And then Arsenal can kill the game. What kind of approach do you think will make sense? Is it one that gets Arsenal to start like a house on fire, or an approach that gets Arsenal to measure Atletico, feel them out and see what they can offer, and then they decide where to go from there?
Well, I think that is a game they have to liberate, their technical players. Atleti will still come with a lot more of the mechanical guys to close and shut Upshot.
Okay.
The last time, if you could clearly see, before Atleti equalized, Arsenal were just decided to just sit back and watch them, all because they were in the lead. But when Atleti equalized and Arteta made changes, they started trying to open up spaces when Eberechi Eze came on, and they started giving lots of problems to Atletico Madrid. Just that Arsenal failed to take chances, and then Danny McKelly, with his VAR interpretation, failed to give that penalty. I think that if Arteta, now he has Bukayo Saka and the confidence that he can start Saka in the game. From how he played over the weekend, even how he came on in the last 7 minutes of that first leg, clearly gives you an indication he's gradually picking up the pieces. Now there is enough confidence. He's glad to welcome his captain into the fold. I don't know if
Odegaard didn't play over the weekend, and a few.
He says Kai Havertz is also going to make a return. And then, he gave fresh rest to Hincapié, who rested.
And then the midfield.
Zubimendi rested. Zubimendi rested. Declan Rice played. He also rested him and then brought on, someone to come and finish off the game.
Played over the weekend.
Yes. So Zubimendi was rested. And even Declan Rice, it got to a point he was substituted so that he could have enough rest. It was Lewis Kelly who finished the game. Eze, Doman, and all the likes. Trossard seemed to have also picked up after his injury. Maybe someone will say against Fulham. But I think that if you get a good game against Anthony Robinson, who's been one of the
very good left back. Very good left back.
It clearly tells you that, yes, together with him, Saka, and then, the players who played from the flanks did a good enough job. So I think Arteta should just liberate the players, but cautious liberation. Open up, let's say you attack in the first 10, 15 minutes. If there are no answers to your questions, then you cool down the tempo, then you just pack it up, maybe get into the end of the first half. And probably if you get your goal, it means Atleti would have to chase the game. Thankfully, most of their players who are battling injuries may struggle to come. And now the home advantage will be with Arsenal. Unlike it was with Atleti last weekend, where decision making, the fans just jeered. You could see, look at Diego Simeone and his consistent harassment of Danny McKelly when he was reviewing that incident. Now he will not be with that advantage again. And it could play to the favor of Arsenal. Just be attacking minded, liberate players, and then feed Victor Gyökeres more. If you are very much direct, it helps you. And ever since Arsenal decided to be a bit more direct and understand Gyökeres and how he moves and how he plays, it's worked for them. He's getting in the goals. He's now on 20 goals the entire season. I wasn't expecting him after the opening day's flaws and then the injury to even get 15 goals. But now he's there. So if Arteta wants to actually make this game his own, give Simeone another exit from the Champions League semi-final and make him a perennial underachiever again. He should just liberate Arsenal, liberate his team, and allow the technical players in there. I expect him start, if you want to contain the game, then maybe in the second half when you bring Odegaard to contain the game. But if you want to ask questions, open up spaces, play Eberechi Eze with Zubimendi, Declan Rice.
Okay.
And I love
how... Odegaard, you think Odegaard shouldn't start?
Yes.
Is Eze in the...